when we add in the budget line into our indifference map, we're going to be able to find what the optimum consumption bundle is going to be for our consumer. We have indifference curves I0, I1, and I2, and the budget line where we have an income equal to $50, and the prices of pizza and wall climbing are the same exact price that we took a look at the beginning of the section. So $10 for a slice of pizza and $20 for essentially a unit of wall climbing. So what do you think is going to be the optimum consumption bundle for this particular consumer? Is it going to be at point A, is it going to be at point B, or is it going to be at point C, or anywhere else? For our purposes, it's going to be at point B. And why exactly is going to be at point B? Because number one, we are using up all of our income. So remember, anytime we are on the budget line, we are using up all of our income. We do that at B, C, and A, so all 3 points right here. But at point B, we notice that we are hitting the highest indifference curve that we can, and that's going to be I0 right here. Remember, the further away that we get from the origin, the higher the utility or the higher satisfaction you're going to be getting. I0 is bigger than I2, is further away from the origin than I2, so therefore we hit I0, we are spending up all of our income, and we are also getting the highest amount of utility that we can. At A and C in this instance, we only hit I2. We are using up all of our income, however, it's only giving us a utility level, say, equal to 25 compared to the 50 that we could be getting at I0. So therefore, the optimum consumption bundle for the consumer, or the choice for the consumer, is going to be exactly where the budget line intersects the highest indifference curve it can possibly be. So here, that is the main conclusion that we're going to be drawing from this graphical representation. The optimal consumption choice, or consumer choice is going to be exactly where the budget line, is tangent to the highest indifference curve, difference curve. So here, tangent. So keyword that you're going to hit on right here is tangent. And if you've ever taken a mathematics class, tangent just means intersecting at this one particular point, intersects nowhere else, gently caressing. It's just telling us that, hey, we are intersecting our budget line and the indifference curve are intersecting at the point, at this particular point. And the optimum consumption bundle for the consumer is where we hit the budget line with the highest indifference curve possible. So here, why isn't our bundle going to be somewhere like indifference curve I1? It's because we don't have enough income to reach this particular point. Why is it going to be at A and C? It's because it gives us a less amount, or a lower amount of utility compared to I0. I0 is the highest indifference curve that we have out of these three right here. It hits our budget line. It is tangent with one another. So therefore, our optimum consumption bundle is going to be exactly 2 pizzas and 1.5 hours of wall climbing. And we can do the same type of analysis, the same dynamic changes that we introduced with the specific numbers as well. What happens if the price of wall climbing increases? What happens if your income increases? Well, if any of these changes happen, you are still always going to be able to utility maximize, just like what we did in the previous cases. So let's go ahead and see what happens graphically with these sort of situations. So suppose price of wall climbing increases. If the price of wall climbing increases, you know that your optimum bundle is going to change, and that's going to change how the budget line is going to look like as well. So suppose that we have something along the lines like this. This is our original budget line, so we can call this, say, B0. And then our new budget line, because the price of wall climbing has changed, remember our budget line is going to pivot or rotate inwards. So therefore, we shift it in. I'll use a new color for this. I'll use red. So here, our new budget line is going to be exactly like this. So B1 in this instance. And here, remember, we have that sort of original bundles with the original prices and the new prices now. So before, we were operating somewhere like at point A right here with this particular utility level. So suppose we say utility equal to 50, and this is equal to I0. So our first indifference curve right here. So I0 U is just our first indifference curve. And at point A, we noticed that, hey, our optimum consumption bundle was 2 pizzas and 1.5 hours of wall climbing. However, when the price of wall climbing increases, that inherently changes what our optimum consumption bundle is going to be. And now we hit a lower indifference curve because the price of one of these goods has increased. So as we shift inwards, or we sort of rotate or pivot our budget line inwards, we're going to be having a new point of tangency, somewhere like point B in this instance with our purple line right here. And this is going to give us a lower utility, say I1, utility level equal to, say, 25. But here we notice that our new bundle, our new optimum bundle is going to be the 2 pizzas and the 1 hour of wall climbing that we had from before. So no matter what, in this instance, we are still able to utility maximize. So still able to utility maximize. Utility maximize. The only difference that we have right here is that we have a new budget line and we end up on a new indifference curve. You end up on new indifference curve. Indifference curve. Remember that there's an infinite number of these indifference curves on one particular Cartesian plane, but here we're just working with the 2 that we are given. And what do you think is expected to happen if your income increases? It's going to go ahead and tell you that you're going to be able to buy more of both of these goods, and your utility should increase as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at this particular case and see how it differs from when the price changes. So here, build this up. So suppose income increases. Suppose income increases. If income increases, what happens to our budget line? Our budget line is going to shift parallel outwards. So before, we'll build this up in white now, before our point of tangency was something like point A right here. It's kind of ugly, but that'll do the job. So at point A, we have a utility level I1 equal to I0, sorry, equals to, say, 10. And this will give us our optimum consumption bundle that is, our budget line is hitting the highest indifference curve it could possibly can. But when our income increases, we notice that, hey, our budget line is going to shift outwards. This is our new budget line, and we hit a new point of tangency with our new indifference curve, say something like point B right here, point B. And this is going to be I1, which gives us to say a utility equal to 100. So no matter what, whatever happens with our budget line, with our prices of either of these goods, what happens with our incomes, we are always going to be able to utility maximize no matter what. And exactly at these points, this is where we get the same exact bang for our buck. The marginal utility per dollar is exactly equal to one another for both of these particular goods. We call this the marginal rate of substitution, formerly in intermediate microeconomics, and there's a whole mathematical way to sort of approach that. But with this graphical representation that we have right here, no matter what dynamic changes we're going to be introducing, just as we did with the specific numbers, we are always going to be able to utility maximize. We're just going to go ahead and end up on a new indifference curve. With all of this in mind, this will be as in-depth as we want to get for this particular section, and that will wrap up chapter number 6, where we talked about human behavior and choice. So how exactly did economists model human behavior and choice? What exactly were we trying to maximize? What was our constraint? We took a look at all of that, along with the ideas and foundations of behavioral economics. In our next chapter, we're going to do the same exact thing, but take a look at the firm and supplier side. So what exactly is the maximizing sort of condition for producers, and what are their constraints going to be? Good job with this chapter. I'll see you in the next one.